Welcome back to Nicholas Comic Corner Classics. Excuse me. This is episode number 2657, Doubleshot 2551. Got two more trades. So one is the end of a volume, the other is another trade for the volume. First up we have is the end of a volume, per se, for this book. This is Moon Knight, Volume 5, Last Days of Moon Knight. This collects Moon Knight Volume 8, issues 25 to 30. Yes, these are the final issues of this volume of Moon Knight. I'll get to more about it later. Mostly put is basically Moon Knight taking out the new Black Spectre. And of course, Tigra, basically. They're still continuing the relationship between her and Moon Knight. Something Jim McKay has done really well in this book. Despite the fact he's married. Well, actually, he's separated from his wife, but he's not divorced. And his daughters, and they're basically out of the country. They came back for the annual in like one other issue. That was simply it. We'll give it that in a minute. So that's mostly what happens in here. Hunter's Moon gets involved with basically stuff related to this. And sadly at the end, Moon Knight dies. In issue 30 of this book, he dies when a building explodes. I wouldn't be surprised if when they bring it back later that somehow he escaped this particular explosion. But yeah, then the book ends. And basically the book gets relaunched as Vengeance of Moon Knight. Still with Jim McKay in the art on the writing here, which is good on their part. This book was actually really good. I thoroughly enjoy this. Heck, there's even reference in here to Marvel Preview number 20, which is an old Moon Knight story from the 70s, which you can read at in this very first Epic collection. Yep, the artwork for these issues for 25 is Parita Prim, Alessandro Capacchio, as Sandra Vitti. 26-30 is Federico Sebi, who does 26 to 29, and 30 is Alessandro Capacchio. Yes, this book is fantastic. I give this book a 10 out of 10. This book was really good. Final thoughts on this volume for Moon Knight. Not the end of McKay's run, because he's still part of the book. He's still running Moon Knight. But this volume is noteworthy for one big thing. That it is, in fact, the third longest, well, actually, it's tied for the third longest Moon Knight book to date. And you're thinking, really? Third longest? Yep, third longest. Longest being Mark Spector Moon Knight, which I have reviewed already. The second longest was the first volume for Moon Knight at 38 issues. Mark Spector Moon Knight was 60. Now, what's their volume tie with this one? Volume 3 at 30 issues. And this is also the longest Moon Knight book in almost 20 years. Yes, but this book just ended recently. This was, in fact, actually just late last year, I think it was. This was the longest Moon Knight book in almost 20 years, because all the Moon Knight books we have published since then, we have Volume 4, which is 12, 5, which was 17, 6 was 14. Actually, this may have been 7. Yeah, the last few books only lasted maybe like a year, or some books like a little over a year. But that's as far as they went with it. Never any further than that. And I do appreciate this book actually reached as far as it did. Also, for the latest number for Moon Knight, the final issue 30, is the 230th issue of the entire series. Good job, Moon Knight. Yep. Jim McKay did an absolute fantastic job with this book. And looking forward to him to release the first trade of Vengeance Moon Knight. I was kind of surprised that they were going to end this book and then relaunch it as Vengeance Moon Knight. Now, when they ended She-Hulk relaunched as She-Hulk, okay, I had no problem with that, because since She-Hulk was She-Hulk's longest running book had the longest run. It was popular. People loved it. But Vengeance, I'm a little surprised by that one, because it has not been as long as that one was gone as She-Hulk. That one had been gone for almost 30 years. Vengeance Moon Knight ended back in 2010. So by the time it started just this year, first time in 14 years. Like, I was kind of surprised they had the book back in the first place. And again, like Jim McKay's book, I would not be surprised if somehow it surpassed that particular first volume. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised about that. So, you see, while this volume is coming out, here are some noteworthy things about this volume. Like, aside from that, here's some other things. It broke Vengeance Moon Knight base reaching volume 11. It broke volume 4 by issue 12. I think when it hit issue 15, it broke it broke the Jeff Mir run, and then it broke the volume 5, which was basically the relaunch after Marvel Now, and then it just kept going, and went on for quite some time. It was actually longer than that volume, which was 17 issues, which at that point that was the 4th longest volume to date. That volume, because Moon Knight had at times has struggled to have an ongoing series. But I think the reason why this book probably sold so well, because it's Moon Knight. And some might think, oh, was this brought back because of the Netflix show, of the Disney Plus show? Not really, no. They brought it back because it's been a while since we had a Moon Knight book, and the book has been successful. Yep. Alright, next up we have is Miles Morales Spider-Man Volume 2. This is by Cody Zigler. Volume 2. This collects issues 8 through 12 of Miles Morales Volume 2. The first 2 issues is Miles versus the Hobgoblin. Yep. And a great 2-parter. Yeah, who would have thought? Hobgoblin. Yes. Oh, by the way, this cover here. Shoot. Damn it. I'll pick that up later. This back cover here is a clear homage to... You'll be thinking, what cover is this homage to? Amazing Spider-Man 238, which was Hobgoblin's debut appearance. And after that great 2-parter, then we do with a 3-parter that's a lead into Gang War, where it's Miles versus this woman named Hightail, part of these Cape Killers. Cape Killers is this unit of the NYPD that hunts people who are superheroes. And during the course of the story, they become a team up with Blade. Yes, freaking Blade and his daughter, Breely. Like, for Breely, this was actually her first time she appeared since the end of her miniseries. And to date, this is her last known appearance to date. I don't know if she's going to appear in the Blade book. And, of course, Blade, he was appearing in this book outside. His 3-part appearance in this book was basically while his book was being published by Brian Edward Hill. But this book is really good. Issue 8 is also, sadly, there's one character, I think his name is Judge. Issue 8 was the most noteworthy appearance, lowest re-appearance for the day. He hasn't appeared since then. But this book is really good. I give the book roughly we give it a 9 out to go. Cody Zigler does a great job. I was actually quite surprised he included Hobgoblin. The artists for these issues are Federico Sabi, which is... Yeah, just by sheer coincidence, I saw the same artist as Moon Knight. This person does 9 through 10, 8 through 9. Of course, Cole does it with Federico Sniti. 10, Federico does it with Para Prina, who does actually 12. 11 is Federica Machin. Yeah, and this deals also the Carnage Reigns crossover, which that was a small scale version of Maximum Carnage. That's the best way to describe it. Yep, but it is like, I appreciate though the fact that Cody Zigler threw in Hobgoblin, because Miles never fought Hobgoblin before. I'm like, that's a really neat idea. I love it. Like, given the fact that probably that Zeb Wells has no plans to use Hobgoblin. I mean, here's the thing about Hobgoblin's appearance in this book. Like, here's a little strange fun fact for you about Hobgoblin. Like, what book was his last known appearance prior to this very book? Also, Vulture's granddaughter, who is Miles' girlfriend in the book. Excuse me. She still appears in the book. And of course, the obvious question is like, what was basically he's not appeared in Zeb Wells' one for Amazing Experiment. Oh no. His last known appearance part of this very book, like prior appearing in this very book, these 2 issues. Actually, he was featured in Zeb Wells' book. Yeah, that was actually his last appearance. Was in Zeb Wells. I mean, that was him on 2022. Yeah, and these 2 issues came out in like the very next year. In between, basically, it had been like, let's see, I think it had been like about 8 months between appearances. Of course, he also appeared in Marvel Superheroes Battle World. But then, of course, he appeared in issue 12. course, that he's there as a lead into the gang war stuff, and that's the most recent thing he's been involved with. Now, do I have a problem with him appearing in Miles' book? Not really, no. Because he's a cool character. I think Cody Zigler himself does a great job writing Roger Kingsley, right, as a character, and it just seems quite natural. I mean, after all, he's met Rhino, so why not take on one of my favorite villains? Yeah, Hobgoblin's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains because he is such a cool character, and his original saga prior to revealing he was Roger Kingsley was so amazing. Yes, from the moment he debuted up until he was revealed to be Roger Kingsley in Hobgoblin Lives issue 3, like that saga. That 20-year saga is probably by far one of the best written sagas for Spider-Man today because his whole identity was a secret for years. Yep. And my only guess is also the reason why, because Norman Osborn is hanging out in Amazing Spider-Man, why not have Roger appear in Miles? I'm like, smart idea. Yep, smart idea. And of course you have a tie-in for Gang War. Yeah. And if you're really curious, like, how many issues of Gang War did his book tie into? Started issue 13, wrapped up in issue number 16. 17 was basically the aftermath of this whole thing. Yeah. And of course, soon, basically, like right after the whole thing, it'll be Miles' 300th issue. I want to solicit basically mention how much it cost. And by the way, 300 issue comes out this week. Yep. Yeah. So don't be surprised if we're going to reveal, like, in fact, next trade comes out for that one. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly it, particular review. Stay tuned for our review for One Piece. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Next video. Bye.